Right on schedule. Sleigh bells ring. Okay. Are you listening?
Hey, welcome to Thinking Out Loud. Hello from Detroit. I am Joel.
And I am Brad with a dog collar.
The dog. All right.
Let's get into it.
This is our next trend video. We've talked about aggregators. We've talked about Snapchat. We've talked about Instagram. We have talked about production value. Now we're getting to the big one, Facebook. Facebook announced a really significant change. Big change.
Changes abound in the book of face. So
this is massive.
So here's what has happened historically. So historically, if you were a brand, you kind of have two options. Option one, push things out, create content, push it out as paid media, put a bunch of dollars behind it, and then you can, as with most platforms, you can optimize who it goes to by demographic information, right?
Yeah, which worked.
Yeah, absolutely.
Works great.
Second option is you can pay influencers on Facebook to use their network, right? And so organically, you set something up where you pay in influencers, they advocate for your product. And that's the way it's always been on Facebook up until recently.
Yeah, they married two different things that are really going to impact.
So basically the way it works now, my understanding of it, is that if you are a brand, you can now pay that influencer organically. So their post is going to go to the influencer's audience. And then in addition to that, you can boost that post to have it go towards a targeted audience.
So that's really interesting. How would it have happened before? Okay, I'm Patagonia. I'm supporting Brad, who likes Patagonia vest. Singular. There's only one vest that Brad actually cares about, but I want to promote that vest. And so if I said, look, I'm paying you to wear the vest, it's going to your network, however, we need this boosted, I, as the advertiser, would have told you, look, you got to pay for it to get boosted, and I'll reimburse you for it, or you've got to give me this very complicated access to your channel, and therefore then I can do it, and it was all very onerous and a big hassle, right?
Correct.
Now it's simply you, Brad, it's a paid sponsorship thanks to Patagonia for this sweet ass vest, and now you can simply select something that allows you to boost it out.
Yeah.
Or allows me, I don't
As
have
the
to contact you.
you can
I can say, oh, here's Brad's post, it's live, it's doing great, I'm throwing money behind it, and it's gonna go out to those whom it's relevant. That's where we are now. Okay.
Yeah, which is a huge advancement.
It's massive, it's massive. Let's talk about why this is so massive. Brad, why am I so amazed by this?
Well, first of all, and this is maybe not in the order of importance, but one thing that is fascinating about it is it really allows you to attack a targeted segment. So what I mean by that is if you have an influencer who's really big in the hunting and fishing arena, right? So they have their organic audience, might be in the tens or hundreds of thousands or millions, it doesn't really matter. What you know is that people who like that general interest area, people who follow that influencer are into hunting and fishing and outdoors. Now, when they do a video that's really fantastic promoting your product, you can boost that in that really targeted area. Whereas before, it was really hard to take influencer marketing outside of the organic reach and use it to target audience. You had to really use a shotgun approach if you wanted influencers. Now you can be really targeted with influencers.
Which is interesting. However, I think this is interesting for a completely opposite reason.
No, there's more reasons.
There are, but I would actually make just the exact opposite argument. That this matters. No, but this matters for branding, because we've always said all along, Facebook is fantastic for DR. It's fantastic for picking off the low-hanging fruit. It's really, really good at grabbing those right when they're in the final stages of a purchase decision. Facebook excels at that. But now, all of a sudden, Facebook can actually go up funnel in really, really meaningful ways. Because again, like this makes much smaller influencers that don't have huge reach potentially far more interesting. And
Yes.
the person with 500 followers all of a sudden just became really, really interesting to us. If I can kick $50 around that one video to make sure the rest of his friends see it because he's got a new Patagonia because he's going out west for skiing over Christmas and he's showing it off, that's the thing that I want. And I don't need to know whether anybody else is in the immediate purchase decision. Right. I want someone to hear and experience that. I want Brad's friends to see Brad saying, check out my new Patty coat because I'm going on a ski trip with friends. Like, I want them to have that experience of our product. And now, this is, look, we've often said influencer marketing is simply word of mouth at scale.
Yes.
This is the first technological advancement in a while to actually be able to significantly scale up the very thing that we are going for, which is that personal endorsement. Like I think this, but it is that branding element that can now happen in a way that never could happen meaningfully or effectively before. What it also means, really quickly, is just that dude with 500, so he can make a really interesting, compelling video that then can get noticed by the brands that he's looking for, by Patagonia.
Sure. Now, I will say that in order for this to occur, the video has to be sponsored to begin with.
Already.
So, but what this opens the door for is really cheap beta testing, because if you can test this out with 100 guys who have 500 followers and figure out which ones have a really fantastic response rate, guess what? Now you can pump up the dollars, still hit the market of really fashionable, intelligent men who like to wear a Patagonia vest, and then that's just going to take off virally. So it's a great way to be able to take influencer marketing and scale it in ways that historically you haven't been able to do. So it's a really great thing.
But what is most interesting to me about this is I think it's going to reward clever filmmaking on Facebook.
It is
where it's not. It isn't just cheap little, clips anymore, where it's like, I know that if I do something interesting around a brand that I like, that I actually have a good chance of building a relationship with that brand because they're going to want me to produce more of that kind of thing and send it out to my friends. Right. So it snowed here last night in Detroit, right? And if I do a really interesting video, let's say I do a time-lapse video of me with my Toro snowblower banging out my driveway and the sidewalks and the front walk, and it's interesting. I send that along the Toro. All of a sudden now, there's the opportunity, and I'm saying there's the necessity because they're going to need to use that kind of content. That's exactly the kind of content that they want. That's going to matter for their brand.
That would be really interesting, because that would be a little bit of a flip from what my understanding of this platform is going to do. Because my understanding is you first have to be sponsored to be able to include. However, if you as an influencer are small and choose to go after brands you really, really care about, it's like with a pay it forward mentality, and you tag the brand, then that gives the brand the opportunity to say, yes, I like that content and I'm going to boost it, in which case there can be a more meaningful partnership. But that's a big leap of faith. And then frankly, the scary part of this,
I think it's necessarily going to happen.
But it gives more power to the brands and takes away some of the power of those little guys, which which might be scary to some people.
Well, that's all right. So we've largely been hovering around the upsides and the big, what I honestly think are going to be seismic changes as a result of this. Big. Let's talk about some of the downsides of this. Who's getting screwed?
Well, I would say in some ways it is the small influencer, because someone is always going to be willing to do it for less. People are going to do it for free. They're going to be creating tons of videos for a lot of different brands in hopes that they're going to be picked up by some brand just for the sake of being able to share that content more broadly and be able to get some exposure. Which, hey, look, people want to do that. That's the market speaking. I'm comfortable with it. Creative destruction in some ways. I don't think anyone's actually getting destroyed here. But it's going to make it harder for the little guys to be able to get that brand partnership.
I agree. Facebook's going to have to be careful with how they do this, because the temptation might be, look, time is finite. There's only so much content that can show up in somebody's feed. And if the user feels like all this is just boosted crap showing up in my feed, I don't want it, then Facebook suffers, their user base suffers, and people use the platform less. Two, if the really interesting content that is made by the little guy that is not sponsored doesn't get the airtime that it ought to, then platform suffers, user base suffers, et cetera. What YouTube did with its algorithm that rewarded watch time over quality of content. That really damaged a lot of the higher quality channels in favor of the massively, like the low quality throw out vlog. This is what I ate. Here's my chicken dinner. Here's me going to the car wash. Here's me mowing the lawn. Vlog style video, infinitely less interesting than a lot of low quality content, and yet these guys were getting punished. Those who are putting up the really high quality content, maybe only once a month, they were getting dinged for it. And that was, I think YouTube's largely corrected that. Facebook's going to be very careful that they don't have to, they don't fall into the exact same kind of trap.
Right.
Because this could kill the platform.
It could.
If it's done wrong. This is, again, why I think it's so seismic. Like, they've just introduced potentially the seeds of their own destruction if they don't do it. Right?
No doubt about it. And frankly, Facebook is 100% behind when it comes to influencer marketing when you compare them to Instagram or YouTube specifically. So Facebook is saying, wow, we are falling behind in influencers. We know this is a huge market opportunity. What can we do to change the game? And so this is definitely going to be a big change. It's a big shift in the market, something to keep an eye on. Maybe it will become the leader and other platforms will follow. Maybe it will piss off viewers significantly, or maybe it just won't move the needle and people won't be that excited about it and fizzle out. I would be really surprised if it's the last one, but let's wait and see how things
I want to finish this with a quote from the CEO of CrowdTap, which is an influencer marketing company. He says this, and this I think is really fascinating. Most brands are using influencers on Facebook to rely on their following base for organic reach.
Fact.
Let the content determine what the reach is. But now, in order for brands to support influencer posts, they have to pay to play. This means that organic reach doesn't matter anymore, and influencer marketing will not be the same. So this would be the equivalent on YouTube of any video that somebody puts their content in. Somebody comes in and pays to boost that the brand comes in, pays to actually boost that content.
Right.
Now that content's getting seen more because it includes an integration. It's a dedicated video, what have you.
Yeah.
Like that's gonna change it. Is it really influencer marketing anymore? And that, which brings up another massive question that we cannot address here, is gaming the algorithm. All right, I think we should stop. This is fascinating.
I think one last comment on that quote, I just can't help myself, is that I don't think that what they are doing is killing the organic reach. I don't think influencer marketing Facebook is going away. It's just a matter to try to complement and enhance it. So I think that's a little bit of sensationalizing it, but it is a seismic shift in the ability to scale influencer marketing, which brings up the debate exactly like you said of, is it still influencer marketing at that point because you're not tapping into the sphere of influence? That's something for you to decide. If you have perspective, feel free to share it in the comments below. Besides that, I think go back to what you said. We got to wrap this up like a nice holiday gift.
Awesome. Okay, thank you for tuning in. So long from Detroit.
I'm Brad.
Just
We're out of here. See you later. And this is Joel too. Let me complete that.